What is a Dexa Scan?
There are a lot of tools out there to help us figure out how to be healthier. Today, our guest tells us how this scan can make BMI obsolete on your journey towards being healthier.
As a health coach and a wellness coach, we ask the questions so you get the answers. Let's get started as we ask.
Wait, what?
Hi, Leah.
Okay, already in that intro, I have a question. I didn't know that the BMI obsolete thing was a thing. So I should probably read the intro when you send it to me before I read it out loud. That would probably be smart, right? Anyway, hi.
Hi. I want to introduce Dr. Ben White. He's a residency trained and board certified orthopedic clinical specialist physical therapist. That's a big long
That's
title.
a mouthful.
Husband, father, and general nerd, which I love. I'm a nerd. He's in private practice for physical therapy, and as of last year, opened up the first and only Dexa Scan body composition testing facility in the Northeast Ohio DexaFit Cleveland. His wife and him have always been interested in body composition, and with the rise of GLP-1s medications, they've started exploring what it would take to open up a top-of-the-line body composition testing facility with Dexa Scan and metabolic testing. They opened the first Dexa Scan testing facility in Northeast Ohio last year, and their goal is to make the BMI obsolete. Weight or your relationship with gravity is one number that tells only part of the story, especially if you are on a weight loss or really body composition journey, which I love that because that's our whole philosophy.
I also want to thank you for reading that, Kamna, because I don't know if I could have read all of that. That was a lot to. But here's my immediate question. What did you say about weight and gravity?
Yeah, I mean that's what your weight is, right? When you step on the scale, that number is just your relationship to the earth, to gravity, right? It doesn't tell you what actually that relationship is made up of. We know there's body fat, we know there's muscle mass, we know there's water, we know there's all these other things. But that number just tells you one piece of that.
What a cool way to look at it. Like I've said, it's just a number. It's just your weight is just this and that and the other. But I've never put it like it's just your relationship with gravity. Like that's.
Leah, have you ever been to the museum where that you get to weigh yourself on different planets?
No.
Oh, that may be a thing from my time. And then you could weigh yourself on different planets and you would be different numbers based on which planet you weigh.
Do I weigh better on certain planets?
Of course.
You look great on the moon.
Really?
Yeah, think about the moonwalkers who are jumping around.
I'm gonna go to the moon and weigh myself. That would be
seriously.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it used to be. I don't know about anymore, but
all right. Come to direct me. Where are we starting?
Welcome, Ben. We are very excited. Sorry, should I call you Dr. Ben or Ben? Okay. I would like to know a little bit about, because your journey is very interesting, how you came to DexaFit. And then I really want to get into all things DexaFit because it seems like there's a lot of information to be had from the scan. So let's start with who you are and how you got here.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, so I'm a physical therapist. Before I went to PT school, I'd been thinking about going to law school, and I worked at a law firm and realized that wasn't the route I needed to be taking. It's a pretty big clue when everybody that you're working with is telling you not to do what they do. So I started working as a PT aide at a vestibular physical therapy clinic. So that's like dizziness, vertigo, and it was something I didn't know physical therapists could treat. And that kind of really opened my eye up to what we can do. So I went to school in Boston, graduated, and my wife and I moved across the country. And I took a job at Stanford Healthcare, and we were staffed on site at some of the big tech companies out there. Personally, I was staffed at Cisco Systems. And so we were the primary care practice for all of Cisco's employees and dependents. So 40,000 person campus, and there was 7 primary care docs, 3 physical therapists, 2 chiropractors, an acupuncturist. They had an X-ray on-site, ophthalmologist, everything. So
the company
did, yeah.
Wow.
And so just by bringing all that stuff on site, the company itself saves a ton of money.
Oh, sure.
I mean, in terms of money out, that's a huge thing, but time lost too. If your people aren't going across town, especially in the Bay Area,
right,
for appointments, they can just go over to the building down the street. it's maybe an hour and a half lost versus the whole day.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Do a lot of companies do that?
The bigger ones do, especially out west, but some of the bigger companies here, Cleveland Clinic has a program using their own docs and resources. I think Sherwin-Williams might have a little something, and Progressive might have something, but not, as far as I know, not to the extent that like the Facebooks, the Ciscos, the Yahoos have.
Okay.
But it's great because we know that if somebody gets early access for musculoskeletal care, back pain, knee pain thing, to a physical therapist, their outcomes are better and their outcomes are faster. And we can do a good job of screening them and telling them whether or not they're appropriate for PT or they need further medical workup. So again, just by giving employees early access, Cisco was able to save tons of money. So I did that for a while. We did some really cool things over there. Life brought us back to Cleveland. We had our first son, and so we're here. I worked at the Cleveland Clinic for a while. That's when I did the residency through them, and then went out on my own during COVID. Part of that was convenience. Part of it was, we'll just say convenience. Having a second kid in the house and not wanting to expose my family to potential things that could be in the hospital. And then from there, we saw an opportunity to open up DexaFit, and that's where we're at now. So we opened DexaFit January of this year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We're about to hit our thousandth customer.
Oh my God, did they get anything? Because I will be your 1,000th customer.
I didn't realize we had hit that high until Friday, when our tech let me know. And so yeah, we're probably going to do something.
That's so cool.
What city is your office located in?
Yeah, so we're in Beechwood.
Okay.
Yeah, right off the highway.
So tell us, what is a DEXA scan? Because I thought it was like a, what do you call, bone density test, but it's not.
So classically it is. So you're not wrong. So if you're, especially an over 65-year-old woman, you should be getting a DEXA scan at least every couple of years, if not every year, for bone density. Now, the problem with that is it's telling you whether you have bone density issues already or not. And they picked that age group because most women over 65 at least have osteopenia, if not osteoporosis. So their bones are already starting to get weak. But it's almost too late to do anything. It's not too late to do anything, but that process is pretty advanced at that point. So DEXA stands for dual energy X-ray absorption. So we've used that same technology that measures bone density, and it's actually the gold standard for measuring body composition. So lean mass, body fat, bone density, and then a really cool thing that we measure is called visceral fat. So we can tell the difference between subcutaneous fat, the stuff you can see and pinch, and the visceral fat, which sits around your organs, which, unless you've got a lot of it, think like a really skinny guy with a giant beer belly, most people don't know that they might be at risk for a metabolic issue based on how much visceral fat they have.
Oh.
I want to ask you a really dumb question. Okay. Sometimes when like your number's up on the scale and people say, "Oh, my bones are just heavy." Is that a thing?
Can you weigh just my bones?
Yeah, so we get a bone measurement. I'm 6'4", about 200. Well, now I'm a little lighter, but we'll say 210 pounds. Okay. What would you guess my bones weighed?
Oh my God, this is so much fun.
40 pounds.
Okay, that's 40 good.
Pounds? What are you thinking?
I want to say more just because I want to feel better about myself. So I'm going to just say 60 pounds your bones weigh.
Yeah, so we got 30 and 60. So I think I'm the third heaviest bones that we've seen through DexaFit. My skeleton weighs 8.4 pounds.
Oh my God, we are so off.
Right off.
That's one of my favorite things to do. It's like the second to the last page of our report, and I always cover it up.
Never been.
The person, how heavy do you think your skeleton is? We get everything from 5 pounds to 100 pounds. But most people are around that 6 pound range.
Is that normal?
Yeah, totally normal.
Wow.
Totally normal. Yeah. My bone density is a little bit higher than average, but
Why? Is it do you do more weight bearing exercises? Is that could be that why or
Yeah, no, that's a big reason. So I've, trained jujitsu for a while. I did CrossFit for a while. I'm still into weightlifting and kettlebells. Um, and, and actually, I think we're probably going to get to this, but lifting weights, especially as we get older, is the single best way to build bone density. Um, the best time to build bone density is in you were 12. The next best time is right now, kind of like planning a tree.
Wait, did you say year 12?
When you're 12, yeah. Because
so
thinking you're 12, you're playing, you're jumping, you're running around.
But why 12? Is it prepubescent? Is that why?
12 to 15 is when you're going to really start it. We have peak bone mass at around 30. That's what we use to compare. Like it's called the T score, but how we compare where your bones are at, we compare you to the average 30-year-old female, because that's peak bone density. But we're really putting it on when we're younger.
really?
I have so many questions. I don't know which direction to
I know.
go.
Okay, can I ask you a question? When I hear everybody say that I need to lift weights for bone density,
Mhm.
how does it actually make my bones like get more dense? Like I don't understand it. I understand muscles.
That's a good question.
Like what do you mean by like my bones can get denser when I lift weights? I don't get it.
Yeah. So the key thing is it's not just picking up weights; it's progressively picking up heavier weights.
Okay.
And there's a few specific movements that come up in the literature, the scientific literature about bone density. But the big ones are compound movements, so moving more than one joint at a time. And so we're moving more than one joint at a time. We're progressively lifting heavier. And when we do that, we create little damages in the bone. It starts to heal, and that's what creates more density. So it's not like we're breaking the bone, but causing little, call them micro trauma to the bone. That fills in and it gets denser.
Oh, thank you. Because that makes so much more sense to me. Like it's actually you're actually on a very microscopic level, like hurting them in a
A little
way,
bit,
and then
yeah.
it's healing and getting stronger, and healing and getting stronger, and healing and getting stronger.
I thought that was only for muscle.
Me
I'm
too.
surprised that that was for bones also.
So muscle's similar. So when we look at somebody's bone density and say they're, borderline osteopenic, and we want to track them over time, we'd expect their muscle mass to come up first. Muscle is going to respond faster to bone. And so we want to see that muscle mass come up, and then we know we're doing the right thing that should create that change in bone later down the road.
Okay.
So you were saying that, or maybe I misheard you, that your clientele or the scan is good for postmenopausal women. Is that what maybe I didn't understand?
So the total body DEXA scan is good for anybody. The way DEXA scan is classically used is more the postmenopausal women to specifically measure a few spots in their body for bone density. And so the way we run the scan is the total body. So we get body fat, we get lean mass, we get that visceral fat, and we get a total body bone density. So we consider what we're doing in that regard a bone density screen. And so if it comes back fine, you're fine. If it comes back on the lower side, we recommend getting a formal bone density test done because that is something you want to stay on top of.
So there was something that is kind of confusing me. You said it's harder if you're already at a place of osteopenia or osteoporosis, but if you're postmenopausal and you're like, oh, I should get a scan, and you already have it, how does that kind of work itself
We
out?
should all be getting them now.
Yeah, I mean that's the one of the big takeaways is knowing your numbers now and ideally at least yearly so that you can track things as if they start to go down, you can course correct relatively quickly. Most of the research that's been done in osteoporosis and improving bone density is done in that older age group though. So even those 65-year-old plus postmenopausal women who have bone density issues, osteoporosis, maybe they even have pathological fractures. That's the main group that's studied in these big weightlifting studies.
So does it affect women more than men?
Yeah, so that change in estrogen has a huge impact in bone density.
Wow.
Stupid estrogen.
I know. I'm writing that down though. Change in estrogen. Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Kamala. Go while I'm making.
No, so I was thinking, biologically, this doesn't make sense to me. Like we lose estrogen as women. I mean, I'm focusing on women. Obviously, this is good for men to know too, but we lose estrogen and all these problems appear, especially with like our structural integrity, and people break more bones and people have shrinkage and they lose their height. It doesn't, well, how can we prevent some of that from happening?
Yeah, I mean, a big thing that we see, especially in women, 45 plus, is making sure our lean mass or our muscle stays relatively high. We see a lot of women who either they've been doing the right things and they just hit that premenopausal stage and things start to go down, change, even though they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And the same thing might not be the best thing for them. And so the key thing is,
Can you explain that a little bit more?
yeah, so especially I think about our lean mass as our longevity. If we start to bring down our lean mass, our risk factors for different metabolic issues, health conditions, even just falling as we get older, significantly goes up. And so, uh, especially with that age group of women, if we don't have a high lean mass, our metabolism is slower. And so our oven just isn't burning as hot. And so we are going to put on a little bit more body fat, um, and we're going to be more susceptible to some of these other chronic diseases.
Wow.
Okay.
That makes me sad in a way.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
all right. So here's what I want to know. So I come into your office.
Yeah.
I get, by the way, on a totally side note, personal note, I just recently called MIDI Health and had an appointment. Are you familiar with MIDI, MIDI? It's a telehealth platform for perimenopause, age, and beyond.
Okay.
So she ordered me a Dexa scan, and
Awesome.
I didn't know what it was. I was just like, oh, okay. My mom was like, oh, it's a bone density, but it's so much more.
It can be, yeah. So it depends on how what she wrote the order in and how they
Okay,
run the test.
that's my next question. So if I come into you and I say I was ordered this, do I get the whole shebang, or is it they write specific pieces and parts for a DEXA scan?
Yeah. So if we're going to do a bone density test, that is a diagnostic test. Like that is going to tell you definitively if you have osteoporosis, osteopenia, or not. And so we do require a physician order for that. For the total body composition that we run, and that's what we run mostly, we don't need a physician referral or order for that. And so likely she probably ordered you a bone density test, which is definitely a good thing to have.
Yeah, I think she did. She did.
So the total body composition doesn't include the bone density?
So it includes a total body bone density. So we consider it a bone density screen.
Oh,
And again, if that's high, you're good. If that's on the lower side on the total body, then we do recommend doing a formal bone density test so that we can definitively say, yes, you have osteopenia, or no, you're actually pretty good.
Okay.
so if Leah comes in and she gets a scan, what kind of results are you going to get with her if she gets a total body composition
Wait, can
scan?
we back up? Do you
sorry.
poke me anywhere? Do you put a needle in me?
Not for us.
Okay. Do I have to undress?
You don't. As long as you are wearing nothing that has metal on it, you can come as you are. A sports bra, short sweats, and a t-shirt is perfect.
And then do I go in like a MRI type tube?
Not a tube. So you lay on a table, and this little open arm goes across your body. And it's kind of like an old school photocopier. It makes a similar sound actually. And so it like, and then goes down, and then does another sweep.
So your head's not moving into a tube or any, so it's not bad for claustrophobia.
We haven't had any claustrophobia issues because you're not enclosed. So there's a thing that is over you, but it's maybe 1.5 feet long, and you just lay there. It goes over you. It's totally open on one side, and once it's past your head, you don't really see it anymore.
What about radiation exposure?
Yeah, great question. So there is some radiation involved. It's about as much as if you sat there and ate 4 bananas with me. Is how much radiation you would get.
There's radiation in bananas?
Yeah. So as the potassium breaks down in a banana, it does turn into.
Did you know that, Tom?
I had no clue.
It's also comparable to hopping on a flight from Cleveland to San Diego. It's about the same amount of radiation you'd be exposed to on that airplane.
Huh.
The point is it's minimal.
Yeah.
It's a fraction, a tiny fraction of what you'd get from a chest X-ray.
Okay.
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 You just taught me two things in 1 second. Now, like I didn't even know you can get radiation on a plane, so that was amazing to me too.
Okay. So Leah gets the reports. What is
Yeah.
she going to learn?
Yeah, here, can I share my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, is it allowing you to do that?
Gosh,
Okay.
I wish it was actually mine. That would be so much fun to dissect mine.
Go ahead.
Wait, can you while you're scanning while you're figuring that out, why do you scan my head?
Well, you've got bones in your head.
But do they like I can't make my bones in my head stronger, right?
So I mean, there are ways, but we're not gonna get into that. Um,
Did you know that?
No idea.
Gosh.
I mean, so every bone is susceptible to, it's called Wolff's law, but basically, if you put stress into something, it adapts. And your head's a bone, so if you put certain stresses through it, um, it will adapt. So it's going to make me leave the meeting and come back if I want to be able to share this.
Oh, I'm just going to pause
Pause the recording.
I don't know if it'll work. Let me pause it. Okay. So we can see it.
Yes.
Okay. So this is a copy of my report, my last report. So I did one in December, right when we got the machine, and then I did another one in March.
This is for you personally.
This is for me personally.
Okay.
Okay.
So the cover page, it's got my name, the date that we did it, and then it's got these two QR codes. We've got a really, I think, pretty slick app. So you come into the test, and all of your data immediately gets uploaded onto our platform. So you're always going to be able to have access to it on your phone, as well as we can email you the reports, all that.
It's immediate. Wow.
Oh, wow.
This
So-
is so cool. If you're for
Yes,
those of you who don't see this, there's like so much data. It's so fascinating.
You can see
So-
it on YouTube if you want to watch, or on Spotify.
Yeah.
On this is 2 pages that we're seeing. So on the left page, we've got my overall body score. So the DexaFit software takes my Dexa Scan and basically ranks me A, B, C, D. And so I scored a B, so passing, I guess.
Oh, you.
Okay, but why not an A? That's my nerdy brain.
And so something that was kind of surprising to me the first time, which we'll get to here in a second, right now, is this visceral fat. Yeah, if you can see my mouse clicker here.
Yeah.
So our body score is heavily based on our visceral fat number because that is such an indicator of potential chronic disease. And so we were talking about how, postmenopausal women, their bone density gets affected. Women are way less susceptible to visceral fat accumulation until they are way older. One of the reasons why women tend to live longer. Men, on the other hand, tend to start accumulating visceral fat at a much younger age. And so, I'm 6'4", about 214 pounds. I work out a decent amount. I think I eat fairly well. I was pretty surprised by my visceral fat number. So I came back initially at a little over 1.5 pounds of visceral fat. And if you're above 1 pound, we consider you at risk for developing a menopause.
Now, visceral fat is the fat that's around your main organs.
Yeah, the fat that sits around your organ. So again, unless that number is like 7-8 pounds, you're not going to really see it much. Now, if somebody is bigger, we can guess that they probably have a decent amount of visceral fat, but not always.
So yours is what was it 12?
So I was at 1.2
Oh my
on my
God.
last scan. So the first time it was 1.5 pounds.
Okay.
My follow-up was 1.2. I haven't done this since March. I think it's gone down because I've been really trying to focus on this, but I haven't measured it. But so this first page is just our overall number. So our total mass. So we put you on a scale and then put that in the computer, and then the Dexa Scan kind of recalibrates based on the composition that it gathers off you. Our body fat percentage total, and we break that down later. So on my last scan, I was about 23% body fat. And then lean mass or muscle. Again, this is my entire body. We break that down on the next page. that visceral fat, and then my total body T-score. So these are the main data points. And then,
T-score.
yeah, so that's our bone density measurement. So the T-score compares me to an average 30-year-old white guy.
Okay.
In my case.
So it would compare me to an average 45-year-old white woman then, is what
it
you're
would
saying.
compare you to an average 30-year-old white guy.
Oh, always 30?
Always 30. Yeah, the T-score does. So that's that peak bone development.
Oh, that's what you said earlier. Okay.
There is another one called a Z-score, which compares you to your age group.
Okay.
And so you can see how you would, we consider the T-score the more important one, because that's again, that peak bone development, but then you can also see how you compare to your peers.
So the only reason you got a B is because your visceral fat was over 1 pound?
Yeah, so that was a big reason. Yeah, that over a pound of visceral fat. My body fat percentage was a little bit higher. I think between 15 to 20% is a really great place to live. So I'm a little bit on the higher side there.
What if you're really scared you're going to get an F? Like, I'm scared I would get an F.
Well, you're still alive, so I don't think you're going to get an F.
Oh, okay. So as long as I'm alive, I don't get an F. That's
Yeah, no. As long as you're alive, you're not going to fail. No, we haven't seen any D's or F's yet.
No D's? I'll be your first D.
No, I bet you've got a decent amount of muscle mass.
I think it would be a C. I don't know.
We got it. I think I'm gonna.
We'll find out.
Okay, we're gonna go together and compare our results.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, go on.
So on the right-hand side, at least of what I'm seeing, is the second page of our report. So this breaks down your total body fat, both in percentage and pounds, and your total lean mass. And then it breaks down the arms, the trunk, and the legs. So
it specifies the fat and the muscle in your arms and your wow.
And not only does it tell you how much is in your arms total, it breaks it down left, right too.
Wow.
Wow.
So, we don't put too much thought into the left, right differences in the body fat, but we do pay a lot of attention in the muscle mass. So a good example for me is I've had some chronic knee issues, but during this time, especially my left knee had been giving me some problems for a couple months, and I'm over a pound lighter on my left side than my right side in terms of muscle mass.
Oh my
So
God,
we can pick up chronic injuries, or just making you aware of things that you may not have been aware of. If you're, we've had some personal trainers come in and they always demonstrate the bicep curl with their right arm, right, or whatever, and so they're significantly bigger than their left. Or just repetitive jobs. We'll see that a lot of women who've had babies who are still in that carrying around stage. We'll often see some pretty big asymmetries.
Wow. So okay, so let me ask you this way. So if I get a scan and it shows that my left side of my body is less fat or less muscle than my right, does that mean my right side is working harder?
It could mean a lot of things. So if your left side has less muscle mass, that could give us a sign that you've had an injury on that left side that you haven't either fully recovered from, or unconsciously you're just always unloading that side.
Right.
It could mean a postural thing, again, like you're always just standing on that right leg. It could mean something that you're doing regularly. If you're always stomping a pedal with your right foot, that'll develop that side more.
I have another silly question. So I don't know if you ever played with the Wii. They used to have this thing, the Wii Fit, where you would stand on it and then you would see where your balance was. Is that relevant to this at all? Like how your balance is, like if you're shifting more to one side or the other?
So that's interesting. I haven't thought about that for a while, but yeah, if you
Just
are in
reminded
that
me of
and on those two squares, if I'm remembering it right, and you're noticing that your right side has got 60% of your weight versus your left side has 40. Yeah, you come and get a scan. I wouldn't be surprised if your right leg came back a little bit heavier, just from like regularly putting weight on that right side. And there may be reasons that you're doing that. Your postural reasons, maybe muscle fascia tension reasons, might be injury reasons, might just be.
So if you know that, does that affect like balance then?
It can, yeah, it can definitely affect balance. definitely would at least bring you aware of how you're likely putting your weight. Muscle mass in general will affect balance, especially as we age. Um, and you know, if we set you up on one foot, that lighter side, I wouldn't be surprised if you were having a tougher time standing on that side.
Okay.
Wow. I didn't even think that. I mean, I do know that like clothes fit me differently on one side of my body versus the other side. Like, I know this, but I've never realized that like you can like measure it. I guess I didn't know it was measurable.
Yeah, and you know, you might feel it. Like if you go to the gym and you do a single leg press, you're probably able to do more, even at the same weight, more reps on one side than the other. And so, you know, there's other ways you can kind of self-test these imbalances. But it can be pretty eye-opening to put a number to it. And then you can change it, right?
Right.
You can change what you can measure. And so, you know,
That's a
knowing this,
great. By the way, that's a great quote. You can change what you can measure. Great quote. Sorry.
thanks.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Oh
more.
my
There's
God.
lots more. There's lots more. So on this left page, on the left-hand side of the page, the first thing we see is it's called our appendicular lean mass index. So this takes the muscle mass that we measured in your arms and legs and puts it over your height. Now we think about this number kind of like your muscle credit score for getting older. Once we turn 40 on average, we start losing about 1% of muscle a year.
Okay.
And so this is the big way that we measure for that age-related muscle loss, or in medical terms, we'd call it sarcopenia. And so the younger we are, the higher we want to get this, because it's going to be that much harder to put on muscle as we age. I mean, it's literally an uphill battle once you crack 40.
So I have another personal question. I keep interrupting you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have 2 teenagers. Should I be encouraging them to lift weights now?
Yeah, I
Without
have a
obviously.
7-year-old and I
Okay.
encourage him to lift weights.
Oh,
You know, we're not lifting 300 pounds off the ground or anything, but
Right.
we're moving weights around. And actually, he asks to do it. Um,
That's
but yeah, there is no reason that's been shown that it stunts growth or negative effects.
we should all blame our parents for not starting us with weights earlier. Is really what
Yeah, actually, no.
it's never been like, you know what I mean? It was never a thing. Was it for you, Kamna? Like lifting weights?
no. I mean, just doing chores around the house, I count that, you know.
And we'd be buff if that was the case. Okay, so what's next? Sorry.
Yeah. So the next one that we have here is called our fat-free mass index. So this just takes your whole body weight, subtracts your fat out of it, and then still puts it over your height. So it's another way that we can assess how much muscle you have. Comparing the two, the fat-free mass index includes the weight in your trunk and your total skeleton, which we already covered. That doesn't actually weigh that much. So ideally for both these, we're in the 75th percentile. So for me, on my ALMI, I'd want to bring that up to about 9.8 to be optimal. And on my fat-free mass index, that would be that 21.5 number.
Okay.
And that just, again, gives me a good buffer as I hopefully continue to get older, to age into.
And sorry, can I ask you, and if it's too personal, you don't have to answer, or how old are you?
I'm 37.
Okay. So you're trying to conquer this before you hit 40.
Yeah. Well, I mean, conquer.
Not conquer, maybe that's not the right word,
Yeah.
but like to improve your scores.
Yeah. We had a guy come in, he was in his early 60s, and he put it best, I think. He said he's training for his last 10 years.
Oh.
And he doesn't know when those last 10 years are, but he wants to be able to live well through them. So,
That
you know, we
makes
think about
sense.
longevity, how long you live, but also your health span. I don't know if you've heard that term run around yet, but before I go, I want to be able to get outside and play with hopefully my grandkids or maybe even great grandkids, and not be limited by my balance as much or my ability to keep up with them.
Sure.
And so that's more how I'm thinking about it. I'm using this data to train for those last 10 years.
Right.
So the muscle mass measurements that we just went over, those are really important because, well, just muscle mass, again, is longevity, is your health span. balance issues go down or go up when our muscle mass comes down.
Oh,
If we have less muscle, it's harder for us to stay upright. Um,
My fault.
Another reason to start lifting some weights.
wow.
And then this next page, we talked about visceral fat already, but again, if this is above a pound, you're susceptible. You've already started developing a metabolic disease. And so this is showing that we're starting to develop likely some insulin resistance. And we can see that before our sugar spikes up, before our blood pressure goes high. We'll see that visceral fat start to come up in most cases. And so this was pretty eye-opening for me because again, I'm a relatively on the outside look like I'm a pretty healthy guy. I was pretty surprised to see that I've started this process. And so trying to again course correct that so I'm not going to be developing diabetes and that's going to put me out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then this next diagram, that's just a ratio of where we hold our body fat. Most men tend to accumulate body fat around the waist, which is represented by that apple. Most women tend to accumulate body fat around the hips, which is represented by the pear. And then ideally for everybody, we're kind of in the middle, but skewing more towards that pear side. And I'm just skewing a little bit more towards the apple. And that's definitely being driven by that visceral fat.
So is one better than the other, the apple or the pear, to be that body shape?
Not necessarily. Well, especially in men. If we have more of that spare tire around the waist, that is going to have an estrogenic effect. So we won't be producing as much testosterone, and we will be producing more estrogen. And so for men especially, we want to see less of the apple. Most women just tend to accumulate body fat around the hips. That's not necessarily bad aside from the metabolic effects of having a higher body fat percentage. But in terms of hormones, it's less, to my knowledge, is less risky.
Okay.
And then this is the last 2 pages, but our bone mass. So I'm 8.4 pounds of bone. Oopsie, wrong one. And then my bone density, so 2.3. So I'm 2 standard deviations away from a healthy.
Excellent. Good for you.
I only one on here. 2.3 standard deviations away from that healthy 30-year-old guy.
Wow.
And this last page is just a quick comparison page. So my first scan in December, I had a B-. I was a little heavier, a little less muscle, a little more body fat, a little bit more visceral fat. Interestingly, my bone density went down just a touch, but when we're that high, I'm not worried about that.
Wow. That is so okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We'll end on that.
Awesome.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. All the information provided is meant for education and entertainment purposes only. Please consult your physician before making any changes.
If you liked this episode, please give us a 5-star review. Also, share this episode with someone who you think would enjoy it. If you have topics you want us to investigate, please message us. Thanks!